Hi, my name is Grace Shalom Hopkins and welcome to another episode of Spin Weekly. Today we are using some local Angora bunny fur that I got from somebody we know and mixing it with a fantastic bat from Feathertail Fiber Arts, which has a lot of F's in it and I didn't skip up on it, so you should be proud. And it's called Shield Maiden. She made it for the fiber share box that we participated in together, and it is glorious. So first of all, let me show you what the little bats that I made look like. So the Angora itself was primarily white. There was a little bit of gray in there, but it's primarily white. And then the bat was these beautiful, rich, like red based, blue based, burgundy, blue based, with some white, and there's a little bit of kind of a caramel colored stuff going on in there. So I didn't change the color scheme of the bat at all. I just added in more white. Now I toyed with dyeing it, but I know that Angora isn't the best for dyeing. It doesn't take it as well as some of the other fibers. It's very delicate. So I mixed it with this because I was thinking of something really soft and cozy, like some mittens, perhaps. My husband thinks it's so soft that it could be used to warm all of the body parts. So there's that. That's a glowing endorsement. But I went ahead and prepped it on the blending board first, and then I ran it through the drum carder. I did this because Angora is so staticky. Like, I don't love it because it's so staticky. Angora and alpaca have the same kind of problems in my opinion. I'm so sensory and it gets in my nose and I don't like that at all. It sticks to my clothes. Don't like it. I've been using a towel. I don't think you actually see the towel too much in the spin because I finally gave up. I was like, I can't handle this. I've got to use something. And when you're using a towel, pro tip, maybe put like a piece of masking tape on the side that's up, because if you're not paying attention, you can put it on upside down and then now your clothes are all sticky again. Not that that's ever happened to me before. Never. Not me. So yeah, because it was so staticky and flyaway, I started with the blending board and then I moved to the drum carder to, pardon me as I arrange my jingles, move to the drum carder to fully incorporate it. I wanted to be careful not to overblend the colors. I wanted more patchy barber poliness rather than a pink. A pink would have been not what I was going for. So I think I achieved my goals. It's super soft. Like you can see, I do have four more bats to spin, and I split it into two because life has been crazy around here. If you've been following my Instagram, you know that things have been nuts. That's why last week I skipped a video because I just did not have the mental capacity to do that thing. And this week I only had a chance to do half of a spin, but thank goodness it wasn't something that was very linear, so I could just do half and show you and still come to you with a fully fleshed out video. So, also, I wanted to remind you guys that I did a Tour de Fleece collab. And I got mine in the mail. So this is the one that I'm going to be spinning. And because life is crazy, I always pre-spin. So I will be starting that in the wings pretty soon. And all of my Patreon people get a 2-ounce. So if you're a Patreon swag person, you get a 2-ounce version of this. So Amara Moon Fiber Arts, fabulous, talented woman of awesome. We did this collab. I have links down below. You can still snag some if you want to, and you get a free recipe card from any of my books. You can find links to that down below in my shop with the purchase of one of those braids. And some very special people have discovered that if you get 2 braids, you get 2 recipe cards. So, don't hesitate to go snag one. I already know how I'm going to spin this, but I'm curious if you guys have thoughts how you would spin this one. So even if you don't plan on getting a braid, share how you would spin that in the comment section down below. And without further ado, let's jump into the spin. So here we are at the blending board. You can see how the batt looks before I blend it up. You can also on the side see the little skein that I spun previously. So I knew that putting it on the blending board was going to break up the colors to some degree, but I really wanted to do my best to preserve that intense red color. Now, the inspiration behind this is I got, like I said in the intro, this is a fiber share package from Feathertail Fiber Arts, and she and I have some shared Nordic background. Obviously we're both white people, but yeah. And I really enjoy the study of ancestral knowledge and ancestral culture, in addition to my just general obsession with learning about other cultures and history. Right, you probably already know I have a thing for that if you follow me on Instagram. But so she made up this batt called Shield Maiden, and it's so beautiful, and I think it captures the story of the Shield Maiden really well. And I also like that Angora is such a warm, intense fiber. You can't hardly even wear 100% Angora without overheating. So I wanted to kind of combine that aspect of, pardon me, yawning, that aspect of the Angora with Shield Maiden. It seemed like the correct choice. I was thinking of blending a different batt to go with it, but I felt like Shield Maiden was calling for this Angora. So what I did was I put it on the blending board and I tried not to mix it up too much, put it in pretty chunky bits on the board, and then I laid down the Angora like you can see here, and I'm not being super careful. I could have, but I didn't want to process the Angora previously and have this be a 3-step process because I didn't have the tools that I thought were the correct thing to process this Angora. I don't have combs or cards or anything like that. I actually gave my cards away, and because I almost never used them. I also am a big fan of sharing how you can do the most with the fewest number of tools. So I really wanted to highlight that in this because I can do these things with my blending board. I could have stopped at the blending board and even run it through one more time, like peeled it off like a big batt and then laid it on. Or yeah, there's other things I could have done, but this is how I chose to do it. But you can see I wasn't stressing about how I was laying down that Angora, and that's a big place where I feel really strongly about. I don't want to stress and take on super time-consuming tasks that I don't love. And I don't love really fiddly, sciencey prep. It's not my favorite. Arguably, I do really fiddly, sciencey things with color, but not with lock direction. I just can't be bothered. But anyhow, so you can see how I'm laying down that fiber. I chose intentionally not to take apart the batt to make it, I could have taken apart the batt to put big chunks of color is what I'm trying to say, but I chose not to because I didn't want to mess with the integrity of the batt. I felt like the batt itself was saying that it was willing to be heathered down, that just to go with the flow. So I really listened to the fiber and the batts themselves, not in like a spiritual way necessarily, but I think they tell you. You can just kind of tune into what they're feeling, and that's how I make my color decisions. So I did do a double layer of Angora on all of these hand-pulled rovings. So batt, Angora, batt, Angora, batt. And I felt like that was a good ratio. I put the Angora on thick enough that I felt like it had a fair layer over the top. I could still see Batt through it, but there was Angora in a fair amount over the whole blending board, as you can tell. And then I just laid down more of the Batt. Now, the key feature here is I did not put the Angora down first. If you watched my how to not make hand-pulled roving video, you know that you don't put the fiddly flyaway fibers in first. You do that after the Batt. So if you'll notice, I started with the Batt. Oh, of course, I just said I ended up with the Batt, and this one is the anomaly. So apparently one of them, at least, I did not end with the Batt. And the diz I'm using here is a sterilized 0 gauge stainless steel ear stretching tunnel. I'm at a 00 and don't plan on moving up or down. So I had these tunnels that I will never fit. And so that's what I use, and I find it works great. The stainless steel slides. I like that it's got some width, because I find that using like a button or something, it often gets tangled. Having a bit of a width through the tunnel part helps guide the fiber and makes it so you're not necessarily getting so much tanglage, at least in my opinion. Now, obviously, if I had a way to secure my blending board down, that would be more ideal. I could probably get a better pull if I did that, but I don't, and that's okay. I'm working with what I got here. So, as you can maybe see, when you pull this off the blending board, it's got some clumps of the Angora. The Angora is just kind of sitting on top of it. Now, you could spin this straight from this hand-pulled roving, and that'd be totally kosher, but, well, I mean, it technically wouldn't be kosher because there's like some mixed fiber action in there, but that's a side note. It would be totally cool. I don't like having clumpy blends. That's a pet peeve of mine since the beginning of my fiber career, when the first commercial fiber prep I picked up was a mohair. Oh, I have got the yawns today. I apologize. It was like a mohair silk merino thing, and it was just like 3 giant chunks. And I was like, what? This is not what? If you spin across the top of the top, then you're gonna have like 3/4 of your fiber is gonna be merino, and then you're gonna have a little bit that's all mohair and a little bit that's all silk. No, you can't do that. You have to prep it some other way to blend this up, or you have to spin really bulky, which is what I did to solve it the first time, because I didn't know how to fix that. Ugh. That's a long-standing pet peeve. So, to avoid that, I put it through the drum carder again. Now, you'll see here coming up, I did it in chunky bits, and I didn't do a lot of further separating. I basically just put the pulled top through the drum carder, and that's it. And that's one of the ways you can prevent too much more blending. Obviously, it disrupted it enough to get that Angora dispersed, but it did not disrupt the colors in a really dramatic way. So, here you can see that my hand pulling game is increasing substantially since the the how not to do hand pulled roving video. That was hilarious. That was the worst hand pulling I think I've ever done, and I did not mean to make a how to not do it video, but you know, that was a thing. So here pretty soon we're gonna hit the drum carder, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the music until we're finished with the prep, because I think I've really explained where I was coming from, and you don't need to hear me ramble on forever about this, you know. So here we are at the wheel, and you can see my little puppy in the background. His name is Stitch, and also the car in the background there. It's a Little Tikes cart. Its name is Hello, Welcome to Hamburger, because if you push it over on its side, it becomes a hamburger stand, and the wheels rotate like either pottery wheels or spaceship controls or grill tops, you know. So that's Hello, Welcome to Hamburger. It's not a car, though it is mobile. Like it functions as a car, but its name is Hello, Welcome to Hamburger. So anyhow, as I spun, I rolled the bats from the drum carter into kind of a big roll-lag, or a roll-log, as Beth from Blue Mountain Handcrafts calls it. And I spun as if it was a large roll-log, but I didn't freak out about keeping it intact. I mostly did that because I wanted to prevent some fly out of the Angora, or all of the Angora to collect at the end in my hand, because sometimes that happens to me with bats, where I'll just kind of casually let what catches catch, and then near the last fourth of the bat I realized that I have all of the add-ins and all of the short things in my lap, and I was like, well, bother. See, that's my emphatic thumbs down about how fluffy this is. This is prior to my giving up and using a towel. But you can see that despite the fact that it's shedding all over me, it's not losing big clumps, which is really what I wanted to avoid. I also felt like it spun really easily here. I was able to kind of move through a thick and thin based on what the fiber was doing, which is always my goal. I like a slightly more rustic texture. I want to work with the fiber rather than against it. Now, if I prep it really smooth, then it all does the same thing. But in a bat, obviously, it's purposefully multi-textural, so I don't try to fight that. Mostly I'm just sticking to, at the end, having a fairly consistent, like light, medium, or bulky consistency. So that's my philosophy on weight. But otherwise, this was a really straightforward single spin. I considered doing a long draw, but I'm still new enough at long draw that I didn't want to have a lot of breakage, and that would frustrate me, because as I've noted, my week has been really crazy and stressful. I just wanted something relaxing. So I just went with my default spin, and again, I'm gonna just let you watch this and enjoy it. Though I should say that I did a center pole ball because I did not feel like I needed to split it. It was all the same color. I know you guys hate center pole balls, but you can split this between two bobbins, no problem, or do an end play, or whatever your heart desires. But for me, I went back to my trusty center pole ball, and I do have a video on how to make a center pole ball, and I'll link that down below if you're curious on my philosophy there. But otherwise, yeah, I think, like I said, I'm gonna let you guys enjoy this, and I will meet you on the other side. Thank you, Patreon peeps, for listening to this voiceover. Okay, so I think that went really well. I think it's beautiful and soft and fantastic. There was quite a few shortcuts in one part of the Angora. My Patreon people this month got some of that Angora. So hopefully there weren't too many shortcuts. It was only in one section of mine, and the rest was really long and luxurious. But when it came to the actual spinning, the shorter pieces and the longer pieces, they spun basically the same. As long as it wasn't the actual shortcuts, I picked those out. So here we go. Here's the first one that I spun is a demo to make sure that it worked. And then this guy was the little skein that I spun in the video. And I think it's super beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and wash them later, and I'll probably post pictures of that to my Instagram, because I did not pre-wash the Angora because it was so clean. So I do anticipate this whitening up a little bit more. And it doesn't smell like barn or hutch, I guess. Bunnies live in hutches, right? Yeah. So I'm planning on knitting something cozy and wintry with this, and I will probably post pictures to Instagram because that's where I post my pictures. So if you're not following me on Instagram, you should do that because that's where you see all of my updates. Anyhow, I appreciate that you watched this video. If you have any tips or tricks on working with Angora, I'd love to hear them, especially the staticky aspect. I am scratching my nose just thinking about it. Put them down below, and I'm hoping to do like a bunny tips and tricks mini video in the future. So if you want to jump in some advice there, please do so. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to stick around for more of these shenanigans, hit the subscribe button. And as per usual, this video is brought to you not only by the fabulous people I know IRL, like FiberShare and the local Angora bunny guy, but also people who buy Spinolution spinning wheels through my shop, people who support me through Patreon, and people who buy my books. If you would like to participate in any of those wonderful knowledge to support swapping venues, there are links down below. And I will see you next time. Bye!